Hello and welcome to GB News' Royal Record. I'm Cameron Walker, GB News' Royal Correspondent.
And I'm Svar Nanan-Sen, Royal Editor of gbnews.com.
And we have a lot coming up for you on today's show. We've got an exclusive interview with a Welsh lawmaker who tells us exactly what he thinks of Prince William and his approach to Wales.
And speaking of Prince William, I'll be providing an insight into a groundbreaking new exhibition the Prince of Wales has launched in collaboration with the Saatchi Gallery.
And the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have been very busy this week. They have announced an upcoming visit to Colombia, but has Prince Harry been a little hypocritical when it comes to security arrangements?
We'll also be discussing the Sussexes' recent TV interview and their latest new project. So Cameron, last week it was announced that Harry and Meghan will be undertaking a tour of Colombia. This is the second tour we've seen them undertake this year after Nigeria in May.
A tour, not a royal tour.
But not a royal tour, yes. What did you make of it?
Well, the tour, in a nutshell, is to highlight or tackle online safety and also not coincides, but it precedes a conference that Colombia is hosting to do with ending violence against children. Very noble, worthy causes. They were officially invited by the Vice President of Colombia, Francia Marquez, who's the first Afro-Colombian Vice President of the country. She's also Minister for Equality, Equity, and an environmental activist. That final point, perhaps ticking a lot of Harry and Meghan's boxes. I think where the controversy lies for Harry and Meghan is this idea of safety. Now, I understand they are going to have a full security detail with them at all times, but both the UK and US governments advise against all but essential travel to certain parts of the country. Granted, Harry and Meghan not going to those parts of the country. They are going to the capital, Bogota, as well as Cartagena and Cali, which are areas which are much safer for tourists as well to go to. But I think a few have pointed out the hypocrisy, perhaps, of this, because Prince Harry only recently told an ITV documentary that he refuses to bring Meghan and his family to the UK because he feels they cannot be kept safe following the downgraded police security that he has. And yet Colombia has had a real issue over the last half a century with internal armed conflicts. So a bit of a contradiction.
Yeah, I think that's one of the issues at play here, that Harry is determined to protect his family. He won't bring them to the UK, and he's battling through the courts to try and get the security level that he feels comfortable with.
Yeah, I mean, I do understand it's going to be an absolutely full community security detail at all times. Presumably, it's going to be funded or at least provided by the Colombian government because it's an official invitation, and I'm sure Harry and Meghan's security team will be given clearance to travel with them, unlike in the UK, perhaps, where Harry's security detail can't carry firearms.
Yeah, clearly with organising this, security will have been discussed, and Harry and Meghan do feel comfortable with the level that is going to be provided. They undertook a tour of Nigeria in May, and security wasn't even an issue that was discussed, and their engagements went off seamlessly, and so they were clearly satisfied with the level of security they were provided there. So it's an interesting one that the security aspect of it is dominating the build up to this tour. The other thing that everyone is keen to stress is that it is an unofficial royal tour and not a royal tour, and that's a second issue with what's going on.
Yes, and as many helpful people have pointed out to me online over the last couple of weeks since we have been talking about this, is the fact that the then Prince Charles and Duchess of Cornwall, Camilla, visited Colombia on an official tour in 2014. The Duchess of Edinburgh visited only last year, highlighting survivors of conflict-related sexual abuse and assault. So members of the royal family do travel to Colombia, but the difference between Sophie and Prince Charles and Camilla, now King Charles and the Queen, of course, is that they're not complaining about their security arrangements in the United Kingdom, whereas Prince Harry is. That's where the contradiction arises, I think. But also, this all was announced prior to what's been happening in the UK recently with the riots sparked by the three girls whose lives were taken in Southport last Monday. But those riots, I think, are completely separate to what we're talking about here, because, of course, they're not targeting Harry and Meghan. It's a completely separate issue. And I think when it comes to Prince Harry and Meghan, Harry has said in the ITV documentary he is worried about somebody reading something negative about him and Meghan in the UK press, which then sparks a so-called kind of lone wolf attack on them. That's what Prince Harry is worried about here.
Yeah. And you mentioned the Duchess of Edinburgh has only just really travelled to Colombia. She went in November 2023, less than a year ago. And so there is an aspect to this where does Prince Harry actually feel Colombia for him and Meghan is safer than him going to the UK now?
Well, Harry and Meghan have obviously had to weigh up the risks here, and they have decided that they are going to accept the invitation by the Colombian government. And I'm sure they will very much be focused on highlighting online safety, as well as with Meghan, with women in leadership, and of course the conference of ending violence against children, which we don't expect them to go to, but clearly it's happening. The visit the same year that conference is going on.
Yeah, and we also saw Meghan and Harry launch a new project on Sunday as part of a TV interview with a US broadcaster. It was their first joint TV interview since their famous sit-down chat with Oprah Winfrey in 2021.
Yeah, and the same network, CBS, as well. That interview, of course, teeing up their new project, as you say, their new network funded by the Archewell Foundation. That's a charity organisation. It's called the Parents Network, and it's supporting parents who have lost a child who've taken their own life due to, or at least related to, their social media use. So that can be anything to do with cyberbullying, depression and anxiety, sexual exploitation, and eating disorders as well. So a very challenging topic to discuss and tackle, and a very ambitious one as well. It's an online network open to the UK, US and Canada at the moment, or at least the parents that were highlighted in both the interview they did with CBS, but also on the videos which are on their Archewell website. There was probably 5 or 6 sets of parents, but I think their ambition is for this to grow. But Meghan was perhaps very open and honest yet again about her own experiences when she was a working member of the royal family and her own mental health.
Yeah, we saw Meghan's 2021 interview with Oprah actually referenced in the interview on Sunday, where she spoke about her experience with suicidal thoughts. The Duchess of Sussex added that she had not scratched the surface on sharing her own experience. So we may in future see Meghan open up on this more.
Yeah, I mean, it was really interesting. I think Meghan, a little bit taken aback that the fact she was asked about this. But she says, I wasn't expecting it, but I can understand why you're asking me about my own experience. And she kind of said, if by me talking about my own experience of suicidal thoughts, if that helps someone to not feel the same way I did, then I will take the hit for that. That's basically what she was saying. And on the one hand, to Meghan's credit, she's got a very high profile. She's a celebrity. And therefore, she can probably have quite a lot of influence and could really highlight this clearly very important issue. A number of children struggle with their mental health, particularly when it comes to the online world and social media use. So that could be hugely beneficial, someone as famous as her opening up. But on the other hand, her critics have already started to point the finger at Meghan and making all of this about herself, which I don't think is particularly fair, but I can see perhaps where they're coming from as well.
Yeah, I think Meghan and Harry both stressed in the interview that this was motivated by their love for their own children, their desire to protect them, and also to help other parents protect their children. We heard Meghan mention Archie and Lilibet. She described them as amazing, and she also said all you want to do as a parent is to protect them. So when we see what's happening in the online space, we know there's a lot of work to be done. Prince Harry then followed that up with saying that parents now need to be first responders in helping their children tackle these issues. So for me, what came across was a desire to protect Archie and Lilibet and also help other parents protect their children.
Yeah, again, it's a kind of a charitable cause, not focusing too much on themselves, and a worthy cause which I think the world really can kind of get behind. It's almost as if they're working members of the royal family again, albeit on their own terms in California. But I suppose a bit closer to home for Harry and Meghan, they've both clearly are aware of the online world and trolling and all the rest of it. Harry reportedly used to scroll through Twitter looking at all the comments about him or what British press were talking about him. I don't think he does so anymore. Meghan certainly doesn't. But there's some really vile abuse online from Meghan supporters, Harry and Meghan supporters, the so-called Sussex Squad, about the Princess of Wales, particularly when she was absent due to her first the major abdominal surgery and then her cancer diagnosis. Really, really vile stuff about her. But equally, Prince and Princess of Wales supporters online hurling vile abuse about Meghan and Harry as well. So, is there a situation where I'm just, asking the open question here? Should both the Prince and Princess of Wales and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex tackle that kind of hate that's happening online about them or on behalf of them? If you've been struggling with your mental health, Samaritans is there to help. Their website is samaritans.org. You can give them a call on 116 123. We will put those details in the description of this video, and it's also on our website, gbnews.com. Now, Svar, you had a special sneak preview of a new groundbreaking exhibition that the Prince of Wales is very much behind, and it's all about homelessness and highlighting artists who have experienced it themselves.
Yeah, so Prince William's Homewards programme has partnered with the 1111 Foundation and the Saatchi Gallery to launch this exhibition titled Homelessness Reframed. The Prince William is eager for the public to see the people behind the homelessness crisis and a kind of range of types of homelessness, not just living on the streets. The gallery aspect of it was also motivated by Prince William's desire for the project to generate new imagery around homelessness. Stories of hope and opportunity feature in the gallery as well, to show what can happen with the right support at the right time. So the exhibition is split into 3 sections: Invisible Words, Reframed, and Open Doors. Invisible Words features a poignant collection of signs from homeless people around the world, signs that were seen in the UK, in the US and Australia, and signs that are often ignored by members of the public. They feature a range of emotions from shame to humour, and it's about putting those signs in a place where people will take the time to actually read them and understand the emotion behind them. Mm-hmm. In the reframed section, artists were invited to create works reflecting their own lived experiences. During the event, I spoke with one of the artists, Robbie Walters, whose work features in the exhibition, and he told us this regarding the Prince of Wales.
I think this is an incredible project. So it's already had an impact on me. The way that I've been engaging with people that are living on the streets completely changed. The way that I'm viewing it and doing my own researching and seeing that it's a much wider subject than just people on the streets. People living in cars, people living on sofas. It's just that how much I've learned from doing this. I really hope that really spreads and inspires other people to find out more. I think that it's a really, really incredible job that Prince William's doing, like having a foundation that really supports homelessness. I think that it's a complicated subject. I think that it's going to take a long time, but at least facing it and doing something about it right now, I think it's a really important thing for him to be doing. With life, we're in a position right now, so we can look into the past and see what we've done in the past, but for me, I like to look into the future and I like to see a brighter future, and I think that making art that can really show that there is another way, there is opportunity, there is a way that we can all come together and can tackle this problem without just saying all of the negative things. They are there, they do exist, I'm a realist, but we can change and make a difference in a most positive way.
So Prince William's whole idea around Homewards and the project he launched last year is all about making sure that, or demonstrating that homelessness can be rare, brief and unrepeated, and also creating blueprints, I think, of like how homelessness even can be ended around the country, with a view maybe one day to spread that message internationally. But this arts exhibition, Svar, it appears to be kind of breaking down stereotypes when it comes to homelessness.
Yeah, that's what it's about. It's obviously it's in the wider part of Prince William's. I mean, it's part of William's wider mission of ending homelessness. But the exhibition is all about changing the perceptions of what it is to be homeless, and also showing that there are different sides of it. There are a range of emotions, and there are layers, multiple layers, and you can also not be living on the streets, but not have a home. We heard from some of the artists who shared their lived experience, and there were a range of different challenges that they'd faced. And so yeah, a Kensington Palace spokesperson said that William's goal with this was to generate new imagery around homelessness, and that's what the exhibition did.
Yeah, because it's also so-called hidden homelessness, isn't there? And we know, and Prince William's very involved in the charity Centrepoint, and they really highlight the fact that there is a huge amount of youth who don't have a permanent home. They're essentially sofa surfing from one couch to another. So, as you say, they may not be living on the streets, but it doesn't mean they don't have a permanent home. So that's something that Prince William is really wanting to tackle as well. And I believe that William is looking forwards to seeing the exhibition himself at some point.
Yes, it was confirmed that William will attend the exhibition. It's expected that it'll be in September, but watch this space.
Yeah, well, we've got to look after the kids during the summer holidays, don't they, Prince and Princess of Wales? But yes, that exhibition runs at the Saatchi Gallery in central London until the 20th of September. Last week's podcast, we discussed GB News' exclusive reports that the Prince and Princess of Wales were looking for a new assistant private secretary to specifically focus on Wales. Somebody who needs to have conversational Welsh, have a deep understanding of Welsh communities and Welsh governments and all things politics. So we thought, who better to discuss that than with a member of the Welsh Senedd, the Welsh Parliament. So welcome to James Evans, who's the Senedd member for Brecon and Radnorshire. James, welcome. First of all, what do you make of the Prince and Princess of Wales's new strategy and finding a new assistant private secretary?
I was very welcomed, actually. This isn't a new role, actually. It was a role that the previous Prince of Wales, our now King, had. He had somebody in place within the palace who was actually advising on Welsh matters, was close to Welsh life, close to Welsh political affairs. And I think it's very, very positive that the Wales have decided to bring this role back, because there has been a little bit of criticism that they haven't spent enough time in Wales and hadn't really give the role probably the credit it deserves. It's understandable, though, with everything that's going to be going on within their private life, but it is very positive to see they're actually taking the role of Prince and Princess of Wales now more seriously, and I hope they find the right person to give them that advice that they are going to need if they are going to be more integral here to Welsh life and I suppose Welsh public life as well.
You mentioned that they face some criticism in Wales. What do you think the public perception of the Prince and Princess of Wales is?
I think that the public perception is very warm to the Prince and Princess of Wales. I think the Welsh public would like to see more of them. They've got a very tough act to follow. They were the longest Prince of Wales in history and our current king, and he spent a lot of time and invested in Wales. He learned the Welsh language. He had a home in Wales. He did a lot for Welsh causes. That's two things he cared quite deeply about around agriculture and helping those who are less fortunate. And I think it's very, very important now that they carry on that mantle. There are those certain political persuasion in Wales who don't even want to see the Prince and Princess of Wales. They'd like to see that title abolished. They don't see them as legitimate rights to that title. And I think they've got an awful lot of work to do to actually regarner that sort of support that the king had here within Wales. As I said, people are very warm to them with all their personal circumstances and what's gone on, but as I said, we'd like to see a little bit more of them in Wales.
Cymru Senedd Group previously declared that the Prince of Wales title has, and I quote, no formal place or responsibility in Welsh life. What do you think of that statement?
Well, I think the Prince of Wales and Princess of Wales title is very, very important, but it adds awful lot to Welsh public life. There's a lot of causes out there that that our current king supported, which benefited greatly from his patronage here in Wales. And I was at the Brecon show last weekend, which had his patronage. We don't currently have a royal patron, so if the Prince and Princess of Wales are watching, I'm sure Brecon show would love to welcome them back as royal patrons. But said the king supported those causes very nobly, and I think it was very, very good. And it sort of enhanced that role. And I think that since the king left that role, there has been a little bit of, do we need it? I think you always have to have a bit of a stock take, but I think the Welsh public want the role, they respect the role, And I think it adds an awful lot to public life.
And James, there's currently no plans for Prince William to have an investiture ceremony as the Prince of Wales. Do you think this is the right decision?
I think it's for him to decide what he wants. He is his own man, and I think he's a modern man. You've got to understand that when the last Prince of Wales, the King, had his investiture ceremony, there wasn't one done before. It was quite a new thing at the time when it was actually done in Caernarfon in North Wales, and it was had a mixed reception then. No, I think what I'd like to have seen is a service in St David's Cathedral, a welcoming of the Prince and Princess of Wales to the country, and then a tour of the country, going around to all parts, north, south, east and west, to go around and meet the communities that he then, the title represents. And I think that's very important. I think I would have liked to seen something like that, perhaps not a full-blown investiture. There are those people who would have loved to seen a full-blown investiture, but I don't think that's something that the current Prince of Wales would have wanted to do. And as I said, I think we could have something, and I hope we have something, but I think time is ticking on now. So whether that's going to happen is another thing.
Yeah, we do understand that the Prince of Wales has started to learn Welsh, but of course it was 2022 when he was given his title and the princess as Prince and Princess of Wales. So I'm getting the sense from you, James, that you think it's been a bit of a slow burner, and perhaps this new Assistant Private Secretary, whoever that may be, may start to accelerate the relationship between the country and the Prince.
Yes, I hope so. I think it has been a bit slow. I think the King has visited Wales more times since his accession to the throne than actually the Prince of Wales has. So I think that needs to be looked at in itself, and people make their own judgments from that. And it's lovely to see the King still wants to come to Wales. He's still got a great warmth for the people of this country. I do hope this person can give the advice that is needed to the Walesers to actually make them come to Wales more often. I think the Wales weeks that the King used to do were very good. They were very warmly received, and I know they're very keen to use Airbnbs and different things across Wales to stay in. I think having a permanent base in Wales is very, very important as well. I think the King's home here that he had, give him that base, and it actually give Welsh people, as we very much go to garden parties in London. I think it was very nice. The King used to invite people to his home as he was then Prince of Wales in Carmarthenshire, and I think that it spoke a lot about the man and his love for Wales, and I hope that the Walesers do that. And whoever this new person is, I know this hasn't been announced who this person is, but we shall wait and see, and hopefully that they do give that advice, and I hope the Walesers take it as well, because I think it's very, very important that they do take advice. Everybody sometimes doesn't like the advice they hear, but unfortunately sometimes you have to grin and bear it, I'm afraid.
Yeah, of course, Kensington Palace staff can only offer the Prince and Princess advice. As you say, it's up to them to take it. Do you think they have been, Prince William and Catherine, been almost too slow in really trying to engage with the Welsh communities over the last few years?
Well, I said the Prince of Wales has been patron of the Welsh Rugby Union for a number of years. He has affinity to the national sport of rugby, which I'm very keen of as a past player of the sport. It's lovely to see him come into Welsh rugby matches. I think there has been a little bit slow, but their personal circumstances have been very difficult for them. The Princess of Wales, with her diagnosis and a preventative chemotherapy treatment, has obviously slowed things down. We want to wish her well and make sure she's back fit and healthy as soon as possible and back to public life. But as I said, hopefully when she is back fit and well and they're all firing on all cylinders, they will be investing more time here, and hopefully this appointment is all part of that process. It's sort of picking up with it where they left off. I think they started off pretty well coming to Wales. They had that bit of a lull, and hopefully now, as I said, the Princess of Wales is coming out of her treatment. Hopefully we'll see them a lot more in the country. And hopefully for those Wales weeks, because Wales weeks are very important. Any advice I could ever give to the Prince and Princess of Wales, those weeks that the King used to spend here were invaluable for actually really garnering the support of the royal family here in Wales. It's the post-monarchist part of the whole of the United Kingdom, Wales, on every part of polling you do. So I think they should invest time here. It's very, very important for them.
You were very lucky, I suppose, a few weeks ago, because the King visited the Welsh Senedd, celebrating 25 years of local democracy in Wales. Was it a very important, symbolic, perhaps, milestone that the King chose to visit at that time?
Yes, it was very, very important that the King come to visit. His late mother, the Queen, used to come on every Senedd open or big anniversary events. The Queen would like to come, so it's continuing that. There was a little bit of nationalist undertone actually, which was in some of the proceedings that was actually put forward in the Senedd, which is a little bit of a disappointment. I think the King come to listen to that myself, but hey, that's what you're dealing with when you've got Plaid Cymru running the show in Wales with who are presiding officers. But as I said, it was very nice to see the King there, very important. And actually the people outside, they love to see him. They love seeing their Majesties coming to Wales. It's a very important event here. I was very lucky to have a chat to His Majesty for a short while where we discussed gardening, actually, and the variety of roses that I keep in my garden. And as I know he's a keen gardener, we spoke for a little while on that. But his passion still burns bright for Wales. And I said the Welsh people love him for it.
And I believe it's the same variety of roses that His Majesty has that you were discussing with him.
Yes, it was. He just said he's got some of those as well. He told me, which was quite nice. I didn't think of the same rose as the King, but there we are. We must obviously his gardeners and I must shop in the same places. Or we've got good taste, one or the other.
He touched on, when the King delivered his speech in the Senedd, that Welsh Parliament has become essential to the life of Wales and Welsh democracy. What do you make of that, the King's remarks?
I think it's very important. There's always slight elements of political undertones in remarks that are made, aren't there, even though they're not overly political. Every recent poll that's been conducted within Wales shows that there is empathy to continue having devolution within the country. To abolish it is literally non-existent. For independence is always very low. So actually, I think there's an apathy there to have local devolution here in Wales, and we're very proud of that. And the King's been a key part of that journey as well. Every royal opening that we had, the King was in attendance with his mother, and I think it just shows his commitment to the people of Wales, and that's what we're all very, very proud of, really. And it's lovely to see his continued commitment. It'd been lovely if the Prince of Wales could have made the trip down as well for the 25th anniversary, but hopefully we'll see him again in the future.
So you think Prince William should take after his father a bit when it comes to Welsh relationships?
I think so, and I'm not quite sure why there is the reluctance is obviously less working members of the royal family as what there were before. So obviously it is very difficult. He's one of the youngest members of the working royal family, so I think his time is probably pulled from pillar to post. But I said the title is the Prince of Wales. He spent an awful lot of time in Cornwall as the Duke of Cornwall, so it'd be lovely if he could invest in his primary title of the Prince of Wales as well.
Okay, James, thank you very much for speaking to us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, James.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's it for this week on GB News' Royal Record. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can keep in touch with the email address royal@gbnews.uk or use the hashtag GBN Royal Record.
And don't forget, you can keep up to date with all the latest royal news and analysis by going to gbnews.com/royal or by signing up to the Royal newsletter.
Until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.